U.S. immigration agents are dealing with a major spike in migration at the southern border. Immigration continues to be a vexing issue for both the White House and for Congress. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins us now. Thanks for being here, Camilo. What is the latest situation at the border in terms of numbers of migrants coming across to the United States?
Hi, Bob. We're in the Texas border town of Eagle Pass. It is now one of the epicenters of the intensifying crisis here along the U.S.-Mexico border. More than 10,000 migrants were apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol agents in just the past 24 hours, including 4,000 here in the Del Rio sector of Texas. As you can tell, Texas has been assembling razor wire here, concertina wire here, to deter illegal crossings, Bob. But I can tell you that we have witnessed hundreds and dozens of migrants enter the U.S. illegally. Despite the concertina wire here, we saw parents with really small children, Bob, get through this wire here. Many of them have left their belongings here, as you can tell, bags, clothing, and other supplies here, because they need to be processed by Border Patrol agents who right now are completely overwhelmed by the spike in migration. And I can tell you, Bob, that just on the other side of the town here, there are hundreds of migrants still waiting in a makeshift staging area to be processed by Border Patrol. Many of them have spent the night there because the agency is so overwhelmed by, again, the spike in migration. And so this really does illustrate, Bob, the dire challenges that the federal government is facing here along the border.
What's causing the spike?
Well, we've heard from Border Patrol agents, volunteers, and the migrants, and it seems to be a confluence of factors, a perfect storm, if you will. You have a highly profitable smuggling network on the other side of this river in the Rio Grande in Mexico that is driving migration to the U.S. border. They're telling migrants that the U.S. border is open right now. Migrants are becoming desperate in Mexico. They cannot get an appointment through a Biden administration program that is allowing some asylum seekers to go to official crossings to enter the country legally. And so they're just crossing the river, swimming with their children, and getting through this razor wire. It is really a dire and striking scene here along the U.S.-Mexico border. The other factor is obviously conditions in countries like Venezuela. 7 million Venezuelans, Bob, have left that country in just the past few years. Most of the migrants we met here are from that country.
What is the political response in Washington to this unfolding situation?
Well, as you know, Bob, this has been a vexing issue for every administration, Republican and Democrat. But the situation here is unprecedented, both in its humanitarian but also national security implications. And the Biden administration right now, as you know, is entertaining these sweeping border policies to convince Republicans in Congress to support additional aid to Ukraine. The administration is considering agreeing to a new authority that will allow agents to just expel migrants across the river into Mexico without processing their claims when there's a certain threshold met in terms of illegal crossings. And so those talks are ongoing in Congress, but there is a general agreement between Republicans, moderate Democrats, and the White House that asylum needs to be restricted, that immigration detention needs to be expanded. And it is, in many ways, a seismic shift for an administration, Bob, that, as you know, came into office denouncing many of these policies that resemble what the Trump administration did here along the U.S.-Mexico border.
Is there any issue that you see as the key snag in the coming weeks as those talks continue?
Yes. While there's general agreement on restricting asylum, Bob, and creating this expulsion authority to deport people back to Mexico quickly when Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed, there is a sticking point as it relates to the issue of humanitarian parole. It is this law that the Biden administration has been using to resettle hundreds of thousands of Afghan evacuees, Ukrainian refugees, and Latin American migrants and Haitian migrants who have U.S. sponsors. Republicans want to severely limit that authority because they say it is allowing people who shouldn't be in the U.S. in the first place to stay here. But the Biden administration says that is a key tool to divert people to legal channels so they don't cross this river and this razor wire here illegally.
Camilo Montoya-Galvez on the ground reporting for CBS News. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.